with Michael Patrick Shields when we return to the Big Show.
Which will be right now at 10 minutes before the hour.
How about we return right now?
Okay, you're on. I know somebody who wants to be on. He's been waiting a long time.
Every once in a while you hit the wrong button. It happens to all of us.
I'm not nuts about that music either. You know what I mean? Not a. You like that? You're doing a little samba there?
Merengue sort of flavor to it.
This is one of the beds you picked out originally.
Nonsense. I've never heard this music before.
It's from the Be Cool soundtrack.
Nonsense. But
nonetheless, it has a jazz organ in it.
So. You're officer of the
tapper.
watch, Paul Keenan. That's not a toe tapper, is it? Dennis Lennox has been on the program before. He is the head of Students Against Gary Peters. Gary Peters was the lottery commissioner, decided to step down so he could run for Congress against Joe Nolenberg in Oakland County, but at the same time took a job as a political science teacher at Central Michigan University. He doesn't live there. He travels back and forth from, I think, Rochester is where he lives, if I'm not mistaken. And ever since then, Dennis Lennox has been like an attack terrier and has not let Gary Peters up off the mat. And there is a development in the story. And so Dennis Lennox is back with us this morning. What's the latest in this ongoing saga?
Well, hey, Michael Patrick, good morning. Well, actually, it's breaking news. You're the first media outlet that would be reporting this. CMU has now banned any student from videotaping Gary Peters on campus. That wasn't what I was going to speak about, but that was breaking news that just came off on the presses of the student newspaper this morning.
How do they make that ban known to their students?
They sent out a memo to myself and I guess the student newspaper outlining a supposed policy that's been in place for years that prohibits any student from videotaping any employee, i.e. Gary Peters or any other student on campus. And this even applies to the campus newspaper or the campus TV station. They can't even go out and videotape or maybe even photograph Gary Peters on campus. They also say it applies at a football game when the student newspaper takes video of photos of students in the crowd or tailgating. It's a little bit confusing, and I suspect some lawyers are going to be all over this. But, the big story the last couple of days with Gary Peters has been his boss, who accosted and physically attacked me on Monday evening when I filed a Freedom of Information Act request concerning Mr. Peters.
What were you trying to learn with the Freedom of Information Act?
Well, we just wanted to get any correspondence between his boss, Dean Pamela Gates, and Professor Peters. Dean Gates has been the spokesperson for CMU in the past few months. She's been the one responding to the hundreds of taxpayers, students, and even a handful of state legislators who have wrote CMU complaining about Gary Peters.
So you tried to serve her with the Freedom of Information Act request?
Yeah, I went to her office. Obviously said, hey, to her secretary, I'm here to see Dean Gates. I have a FOIA request. I'd like to serve her with it. The dean actually tried refusing my request for about 15 or 20 minutes. She wouldn't accept it, and then she went in and hid behind a door and called up CMU's lawyer who, as a good lawyer would do, say, listen, you can't refuse a FOIA request. The public has a right to know what their public officials are doing. And at that point, she came out to accept it and started accosting me, and I said, wait a second, something's wrong here. I should turn my video camera on. Turned my camera on, and at that point, she violently attacked me, trying to censor the camera, and then realizing that was a failed effort, kicked me out of her office. And that resulted in a police charge against her. A police complaint that I filed against her for. But I guess the police have decided not to press charges.
What kind of violent attacking? Was it like a slap fight, or did you get clawed to the fingernails? Or
she slapped me, slapped my hand that was carrying the video camera. Totally unprofessional behavior by anyone, particularly a dean of a college who's in a position of authority. I mean, she is my dean, and she carries a great deal of weight. And, I don't know what I'm going to do now on campus because, like I said, she's my dean. She could really make my life difficult until I graduate unless CMU takes some sort of action against her. I know a bunch of the bloggers are calling for her to be fired. I know Bill Knowling runs a pretty well-known lunch bucket conservative blog. He's asking people to email the school president and demand her firing. Something needs to happen. I mean, I might even have to transfer schools. I'm talking about that right now with my family and my legal counsel because she's created a hostile learning environment for me at CMU. And gosh, I mean, I hope Gary Peters doesn't support what his boss is doing.
You can see the incident on YouTube. You've posted it somehow?
Yes, you can go to our blog, and sorry for the plug, but it's petersreport.blogspot.com.
Paul Keene, have you seen the video? You're our officer of the watch. Have you checked it out?
Actually, we're just watching it now.
Okay, and have you been able to see what happens? Does it look very dramatic?
Not yet. We just pulled up the video.
Okay, we'll have a look at it then. Dennis, it's they're getting probably tired of your relentless pursuit of Gary Peters, but it offends you that he's a professor there.
Well, it doesn't offend me. I've actually talked with Gary Peters last week, and I told him that I would love to take his class if he wasn't running for Congress. I think he would be a great professor. I just think he needs to live up to his contract that he signed with CMU for 3 years to give his primary commitment to teaching my fellow students.
Well, we will watch the video, and obviously the story's not going away, and neither are you, so keep in touch, and we'll let us know what happens, and we'll try to get in touch with someone at CMU who can maybe give us the other side of the story, too, if there is another side. Dennis Lennox, students against Gary Peters. It's Michael Patrick Shields on The Big Show.